What's going on, fragrance family? This is Tyler with Simply Fragrances, and today I'm starting a new tag. You in a bottle. What's it all about? Be sure and keep it right here to find out. Alright guys, welcome back. Like I said, my name is Tyler. This is my channel, Simply Fragrances, where we talk everything fragrance related. We're doing top 10 videos, we're doing smell and rates, interviews, weekly fragrance rotations, fragrance reviews, everything that encompasses fragrances you can find right here on this channel. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, be sure and hit that red subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for the love and support you have shown this channel over the past year and a half. So guys, I got a video that I'm actually pretty excited about. I think it's going to give a lot of different fragrance reviewers, to talk maybe a little bit more passionately about certain fragrances. So what is this tag? What is this video about? You in a bottle. I mean, it might be kind of self-explanatory, but I'll go ahead and give some details. So what this is, obviously it's going to be a tag, so stick around to see who I tag, but it's going to be a video dedicated to those fragrances that they just mean the most to us. It could be one fragrance, it could be 5, it could be 20, who knows? But for whatever reason, these fragrances, they're just you in a bottle. Maybe it's your personality, maybe it's a fond memory, maybe who knows what it is, but these fragrances just resonate with you almost to your soul. They are, for instance, me, Tyler, in a bottle, or they are whoever I'm gonna tag in a bottle for one reason or another. I've got 4. And I maybe could have put a little bit more, but these 4 mean the most to me, and they're just, man, whenever someone says this fragrance, they automatically think of Tyler. So hope that kind of makes sense, and maybe as I go along in the video it might make a little bit more sense. But let's go ahead and get into the first fragrance. So this fragrance, I've said it on many occasions, this was my first, what I would consider back then a grown-up purchase, if you will, because I didn't know anything about discounted sites. I didn't know anything about, getting stuff cheaper. I saw this in Dillard's and I smelled it and I was like, that smells good. I was 19, and so I bought it. Okay, so it was like 75, 80 bucks, somewhere in there. But what fragrance am I talking about? If you've been a part of my channel for any length of time, you know what I'm talking about, guys. This is Versace's Man Eau Fraiche. And this one, man, this is a staple for me. This is a huge staple in my, not in just fragrance journey, but in my life. This was the fragrance that I got when I first moved out. I was 19 years old. I got my own house. Well, had roommates, but I moved out of my parents' house. I got my own car. I got my first real job, and I was becoming a man, okay? This is the fragrance this was my signature scent for at least 3 to 4 years. This is what I would wear, and anytime anyone smelled this, so hey, I smelled that fragrance, man, I thought of you. This was my stuff. This was a fragrance that helped me in my journey to becoming, into manhood. This is, I didn't have everything figured out. I made some dumb decisions, but at least I was smelling good along the way, right? But no, I made some pretty big decisions in this. I wore this to my first interview. I wore this to, pick up my first car. Like I said, I wore this on several first dates. Like, this was just a fragrance that I was rocking back in the early 2000s. As I was coming into manhood. This will always be in my collection. This is a staple to me, and this is literally me in a bottle. On to the next one. All right, so the next fragrance on this list, and I do want to caveat, guys, if I pick a fragrance or something like that you want to use, or it's just you, go ahead and use it. It doesn't have to be, you have to pick, different fragrances or anything like that. It's okay if we have the same fragrance. They could be for different reasons. So I say that because this might be on some of y'all's, but that's okay. Go ahead and use it. I don't want it to be anything like deterred away from. But this next fragrance, this has captivated me in such a way, and I've shared on the interview that I had with this gentleman, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. But this is Zaharoff Signature Pour Homme, and as I was saying, I've stated with George on the interview that I had with him, this reminds me of a aftershave that my grandpa used to wear. Doesn't smell exactly the same, but it's in that same ballpark realm, and for the life of me, I cannot remember what that aftershave was. My grandpa, he actually passed away when I was 13 years old. and you know, just a big influence on my life. You know, he was pretty much the first dad that I had, if you will. My mom grew up single parent until I was about 6 or 7, and then she met my stepdad, who is my dad. He raised me. I'm not, you know, taken away from that, but my grandpa was there for the first 5, 6, 7 years of my life, and he was the guy that I looked up to. And I always remembered that he smelled good when he went in for work. He worked at Cox South as a hospital here in Springfield, Missouri, and he was just kind of a handyman, but he always made sure that he smelled good, and he always made sure that he was freshly shaven and he had his aftershave. And this, I don't know, it hits with me in that child memory, and it reminds me of my grandpa, and it reminds me of a man that I want to be. This is classy, it's sophisticated, it's a man who, he knows what he wants in life, and he smells good. He knows exactly who he wants to be, and it's a power fragrance for me. I don't know if I'm wording this very well, but it's just a fragrance that smells fresh and clean, well put together. I wore this on my first day when I became a manager at AT&T. I used to work at AT&T. I also wore it on the first day that I started my own business. George has inspired the crap out of me throughout this past little bit that I've gotten to know him. We have a pretty good relationship, talk pretty regular, and he's just a person that I look up to. And so the fact that this smells similar to an old aftershave that my grandpa used to wear back in the 90s, and that I have just an awesome relationship with George. He's a huge inspiration, and it's just me in a bottle. I've gotten many people onto this fragrance, including Austin. He loves this house, and like I said, it's just a fragrance that I wear when I want to feel sophisticated. I wear whenever I want to feel put together. It's a confidence booster, and I love this. Zaharoff signature pour on. Definitely had to make this list. Alright guys, so the next fragrance on the list might seem a little bit redundant, because the Zaharoff, it's kind of this gentleman, not quite barbershop, but it has been kind of put into that category, if we will, this classic gentleman's, almost fougere-like type of fragrance. But this is a true barbershop fragrance, and obviously if you've been a part of my channel for any length of time, you know that I really love the barbershop fragrances. There's something about them that I just connect with. I think it kind of goes back again to my grandpa, him, shaving every morning before he went to work, putting on the aftershave, seeing him shave, and the shave soap that he would use, all that stuff. I think it just really kind of captured me as a little kid. And then whenever I was younger, obviously I used to cut my hair. There was a time where I didn't have these beautiful curls, but I used to cut my hair about once every couple weeks, and I'd go into the barber shop and they'd put the soap on you, or the foam on you, and they'd shave the little hairs from the back of your neck. And I just thought I was a man. There's just something that's masculine to it, and it just brings back a lot of fond memories. Guys, what fragrance am I talking about? This is Gravitas Pour Homme, and that should be no surprise, guys. I've said it many times. This is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. It's got that classic barbershop feel to it, but it does present a modern twist to it. It's got this citrus in the top, that orange blossom. It's got the vanilla. It's got this beautiful creamy lavender. It's got ambergris to kind of give it some depth and some richness to it. This is just a stellar fragrance. It makes me think, honestly, of happiness. Like I always feel happy when I wear this fragrance. It just makes me think of beautiful, bright, sunshiny days, birds chirping, springtime. Spring is one of my all-time favorite seasons. I love this fragrance, and anytime I wear this, everyone says, I know what you're wearing, because I wear it so much. As you can tell, I've put, quite the dent into it. And anytime you get over 50 fragrances, let alone 200 fragrances, for something to have this big of a dent speaks volumes to how much I love this fragrance. I wear it all the time. My buddy Austin, he has a sample of it, and whenever he wears it, his wife says, wow, you smell like Tyler. So I wear this stuff quite a bit. I love this. This is definitely me in a bottle. Gravitas Pour Homme had to make the list. Alright guys, so we're down to the last fragrance on my list. Like I said before, the people who I tagged, there's no limit to how many you can or can't have. I mean, obviously you need to have one to talk about, but I mean, it could just be one. It could be 5, 12, whatever. So I'm doing 4 just because these are fragrances that I can honestly say these are me in a bottle. So what fragrance made the last on the list, guys? This is Creed's Aventus. Yeah, I know it's overhyped, it's overplayed, it's played out. I get it, I hear it, yada yada, but guys, I love this stuff. This will always be in my collection. And I can still remember the feeling that I had when I got my first bottle of Creed's Aventus. I've only had this in my collection for the past, 4 or 5 years now, but it has made such an impact on my life, and it actually brings back even some childhood memories. Even though this fragrance wasn't even invented until 2010, it makes me think of my childhood in the sense of summertime, playing out in the backyard, with my friends, especially around like the 4th of July. I can, almost see it now, just being at my grandparents' house. They had a lake house down in Table Rock Lake, and just being on the lake house, shooting off fireworks around the 4th of July, having to cook out, and there's always a big fresh bowl of pineapple. Like, I loved pineapple. My family honestly enjoys pineapple, but pineapple is my favorite fruit, and so I always ate a lot of pineapple. And just this having pineapple in it, it brings back those summertime memories. I feel confident when I wear this. I wore this on the last time that I saw one of my childhood friends. He actually moved away, and I wanted to just capture that moment, capture that last time that I got to see my friend before I moved, with a special scent memory. And this was actually this exact batch, 17Q11, but this was the fragrance that I wore, and I have warm, fond memories whenever I wear this fragrance. And honestly, it's me in a bottle. Anytime pineapple gets brought up, everyone's like, oh, Tyler, because I wear this and I love pineapple. But anytime that anyone wears like Mont Blanc Explorer or Club de Nuit Intense Man, any kind of pineapple vintage, anything that resembles pineapple, everyone's like, oh, you're wearing a Aventus, or hey, you smell like Tyler, because he always wears a Aventus. This is just me in a bottle, guys. It's classy, it's sophisticated, at least in my opinion. It's playful, it's mature, it's confident, and I don't know, you just feel achieved when you wear this. Like, whenever I got this in my collection, I almost felt this like sense of completion, if you will, to my collection. Obviously, it's not completed because I've got well over 200 fragrances now, but it's just, I don't know, there's this sense of accomplishment whenever you get a bottle of Creed's Aventus in your collection, especially a vintage one. This stuff, man, it's just awesome. Classic smoky pineapple magic. Love this stuff, guys. Creed's Aventus had to be on the list. All right, guys, so now it's time to do some tags. I do apologize. As you can tell, it is a different day, and that's because at the recording of the video, my boy Chris didn't have his new channel up, and as I was editing, he announced that he was going to launch the new fragrance channel, and so definitely wanted to include him in here. But I'm gonna make this an open tag as well. If this sounds like something that resonates with you and you guys want to do it, please, I encourage you to do so. You in a bottle. I think this could be a really fun video. The people who I'm going to tag, I'm going to tag Brian at My 2 Cents. I'm going to tag Jeremy at House of Kolasus. I'm going to tag, obviously, Chris from the old account, the Fox Accord, to the new account, the fragtastic Mr. Fox. Dave from Calies Groom Room. And then I'm also going to tag John Murrell, and then Mark from Aussie Fragrances, and then obviously leave it as an open tag. So if that sounds like something that you guys want to do, please feel free to do so. I think this could be a really fun video where we can talk a little bit more passionately about fragrances. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you had fun with this one. I know I did. I got to open up a little bit and explain maybe the passion and the love that I had for some of these fragrances. So tell me what you thought of the list. Are any of these on your list? If you were able to make a list of fragrances that are you in a bottle, would any of these make the list? If so, tell me why. And if not, tell me the fragrances that are you in a bottle or hold a special place in your heart, if you will. So like I said, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I'll catch you in the comment section. I'll also catch you on the next video. And remember, if you love it, wear it.